festivalcircuit.com and the director of the Oregon Screams Horror Film Festival. We just wrapped up Oregon Screams Horror Film Festival Summer 2022 on August the 21st. And one of those films, which was nominated for an award, was Cameo. And we're here to talk to the director, Ryan Kelly. How's it going, Ryan?
Doing well today. Yeah, I think I'm over the jet lag. Landed, took a red eye back from Oregon back to the New York City area Monday night. So spent Monday night on a plane. Landed at like 7 local time in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So yesterday was a little.
You know, my wife's a flight attendant for United. They call that a transcon when you go from one coast to the other. So I appreciate you making the trip, and congrats, Sarah Schoofs getting nominated for the Best Acting Performance Award for good reason. I got good feedback from people who were at the festival that said it was really dope, man. Your film is like really just impresses audiences all over. Good job.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm very pleased with its festival run. You know, people like it. That's all you can hope for when you do something. You know, you never quite know if what you're doing not even going to succeed, because that's so relative. But if it's even going to just make sense to other people, or if it just makes sense to you, you know, you got to tell me, well, I'm making this movie about a cursed necklace and witches. People kind of like, okay. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe it sounds a little out there, but it'll make sense when you see it. I promise.
Well, you know, that's part of the creative process. You know, you start working on something, you're building something, you have this idea, you put it out there, and you're hoping that it's received. And it's funny because it's received in different audiences for different things. You know, your film has gained a lot of merit, you know, not only with the Oregon Screams Horror Film Festival. We're proud to announce nominated for Best Horror Film at the Austin After Dark Film Festival Fall 2022. So good job on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to get it to check out Austin now. Yeah, that was a big goal, was getting into an Austin Fest and having an excuse to get down there. My wife's been and has friends there, so
we'll expect to gain a little weight. There's plenty to eat. But it's a good time, and Austin After Dark is just an excellent event. Austin Film Society Cinema is its own thing. It's like, I like these theaters, man. You know, Clinton Street, Austin Film Society, they have like their own character. You know, it's not corporate. So
no, I love that. Yeah, it was really great being in the Clinton Street Theater. You can just, I'm a total nerd for that stuff. So yeah, anything like old historical related to like film, cinema, history, like I'm all about. Yeah, I loved the vibe of that place, and the pub next door. I had a good time.
Yeah, the place is good. I've stayed there until closing with a lot of filmmakers, you know, just drinking into the wee area of the night, just telling stories. It's definitely a fun place. Without Clinton Street, man. I mean, we're probably gonna have another horror film festival in Sunshine Mill Winery out in the Dalles, which is just a whole different experience to get out to a drive-in theater. So they all have their own character, they all have their own charm. But I tell you what, Clinton Street, you know, being so close to downtown and just being that like local historical Portland icon, it's just a good place to screen. So
yeah, it was great. It was a great area. I sat
for those yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know? Well, for those who don't know much about your film, can you please put the synopsis in your own words?
Sure. It's a movie about a graduate student who gets this mysterious necklace, and then strange things start happening to her. You know, the movie's sort of trying to, I guess, plant the seeds of, is it in her head? Is this really happening? You know, and yeah, that's something you got to see the movie to find out. But yeah, it's a supernatural horror, like cursed object genre.
What was the motivation for making this particular story? Is this part of a series, a proof of concept, or is this just one isolated idea you just wanted to create? How did this come about?
Yeah, it started as a proof of concept for a feature. I thought, you know, it was sort of wanting to do something within the supernatural horror genre, and then just kind of settling on the cursed object trope. I felt like that was, excuse me, an interesting thing to build like a low budget movie around, because you have just this everyday object now taking on this very, very large significance in the story. So yeah, it was that as a core idea, and then I remember my wife had suggested maybe it should be a cameo necklace, and going, because I'll always check IMDb too, and finding, surprisingly, I couldn't find anything like called Cameo. I'm like, okay, we got to nab that title up while we still can. So yeah, we've been developing it into a feature, which has been pretty hard. Your concept fills 13 minutes, filling 90 or 100 pages. It's a totally different ball game. So we've had to expand certain things, add characters, kind of flesh out the backstory, which is not anything we were thinking of consciously during the writing of the short. It was just kind of like, oh, let's do this. I think, oh, this looks cool, or this might be an interesting idea for a scene, you know, that sort of thing. It was a very different approach, as opposed to, you know, you have more working parts in a feature-length story. So yeah, writing the feature script, and hoping to get some eyes on that too.
Well, you don't want to sound like the creators of Lost, where it's like you just made one episode and you're like, "Uh-oh, we got to make up 5 seasons."
Exactly. No, you wanted to. You got to put some thought into it because you can't just like. Certainly in a feature, it has to be so character based.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
really got you really got to focus on your character, and character driven horror is fantastic when it's pulled off right. So it's totally different. Yeah, where you're really focused on your characters, but that's a fun process too.
No, it's really cool. Yeah, I can see you doing a lot of things with flashbacks and just all kinds of stuff. And I think you got a good start. I think people like it as it is. And did you, in the production of this, did you learn anything? Was there anything on set, good or bad, that happened that kind of was a little bit of film school for you? You know, every shooting everything teaches you something. But what did this one teach you?
Yeah, we had pretty bad problems early on, and it was just the process of definitely learning you are just as good as who you surround yourself with, and you're not. And as we were talking about earlier, like success isn't guaranteed, or your movie being well received isn't guaranteed. But if you're doing work you're proud of and you're doing it with people you like, I think if you make that your kind of your focus, like that's all you can hope. That's the best you can hope for. And then everything else is, things land where they land. You never know how things are going to be received by the public or the film festival circuit or anything like that. But so just be careful with who you surround yourself with, and because we had a long production schedule.
Mm.
We had those difficulties, and then we had COVID. It was all told 589 days from day one to the last day, but everybody on the last day was there that first day. Like, it was pretty incredible. It was a small skeleton crew by the end because we were starting to get vaccinated. It was April of 2021.
Gotcha.
But we wanted to just keep things small and safe. So, but everybody there saw it through to the end over the course of a year and a half. People got divorced and stuff, and had all kinds of all the ups and downs of the pandemic.
Oh my goodness!
But they stuck through the movie. This little low budget movie, they really believed in it, and that gets you believing in it too. Like when you're surrounded by people who believe in what you're doing.
For sure. And the pandemic was just kind of crazy. I think there was a certain amount of people were kind of sitting down, like, okay, this is going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, and then after a while, it was like, dude, we got to shoot something. I know this is going on, but I have to use these creative juices. I can't just sit here watching, Netflix for,
No, got to do something.
long.
Yeah. So, I'm of that mindset where it's like if I'm not doing stuff, I basically get pretty antsy. So a lot of writing these days. But and then the pandemic time was maybe a sort of blessing in disguise with the project too, because I experimented. I had most of the footage while in lockdown, so I was able to really experiment with stuff, especially related to like the sound design that I think came across really nicely and really adds to the movie. So the long period is just kind of part of the movie's story on some level.
It is, and that's one of the things that also stood out at the event. And it's one of those things you can hear it on that sound system. It's totally different from listening on a laptop or something, to really get that environment that you created. You did a lot of that by yourself, or did you reach out for some post sound work?
Yeah, on my last short Mania, I found a guy who's kind of a all-in-one like post job. His name's Jesse Mullings. So anyone watching, he's fantastic. If you need post help. Or production help. So basically I do my own editing, and our workflow is basically I get it to the point as far as I can take it. If he polishes it and gets it ready for 5.1 and surround sound and does the color grade and does the sound mix. But I did most of that myself, but then there was some polishing on his end, and then we had a final like in-person day where we tinkered and added some stuff. And it's been a really good working relationship. He's a really talented and sweet guy, and it's been great working with him. And as long as he'll work with me, I'll intend to work with him. Like, he's fantastic.
Very cool, my man. Well, it sounds like you got a good team, and it sounds like you got a great reception at the theater. Appreciate you screening with us. Looking forward to seeing you down in Austin for our next event, the Austin After Dark Film Festival Fall 2022. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we get out of here?
The block was fantastic, but I just really wanted to specifically single out Worm and Forest Halloween is not only really good movies, just movies that I've never seen anything quite like either of those. Like, but really, really like unique and like singular visions. Like, I was very, very taken with both of those. So,
excellent.
So kudos to both of those filmmakers, and I'll follow their work and want to see more of it for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this video with them specifically and be like, hit this guy up on Instagram. He watched your stuff and really liked it. So,
I mean, that's the
um,
best part is like seeing other people's stuff, and it's so inspiring seeing what other people are doing, like the creativity with people, just like me making movies with little or no money, basically. Like the things people come up with just are so inspiring.
at some festivals, and not so much Organ Screams, but some festivals, I notice that a lot of people will come in and watch their movie and just bounce.
I
Can
never
you
understood
explain
it.
it?
I can't because I don't understand it, and it's just like honestly, like I'm somewhat of a known commodity of the New York film scene at this point, and a lot of that really has just been showing up to stuff where I'm not screening, like just
Mm,
making that effort, to support other
sure.
people's works, and go to your friends' plays, like like go to your friends' photography showings. Like I don't know why you would want to. I don't know why you would want to live in a city and not like absorb as much of the culture as you possibly can too. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't understand it at all. And then yeah, creatively, like I've been so inspired by like what people do, and you can you know not steal it per se, but like sort of just like it just changes like your own mindset a little bit, like being exposed to the difference in my work between when I was just kind of doing it siloed versus going to festivals more and seeing what people are doing. Like it's huge. It's why Cameo's gotten the reception it did because I've just seen more stuff.
You realize you realize capabilities, stuff that you
Hmm.
may never thought of before. You realize, maybe some things you thought were limiting. It's inspiring, I think, to watch other people's work, and sometimes you can learn from other people's mistakes too.
Hmm.
Where
Totally.
you'd be like, oh, well, they, could have lit that better, or but and also you just have something to compare it to. I think watching films in an audience is like an out of body experience a little bit,
Hmm.
where 'cause you get so close to your footage, every frame, but then when you're in a crowd where people don't know it, it's like a true test. So kudos to
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, seeing how your movie plays, yeah, that's another huge benefit of in-person stuff is yeah, seeing what the reactions to stuff is, and that can inform you. You can't do anything about it for this movie, but certainly with like the last movie, which was 20 minutes, like keeping it tighter,
Sure.
keeping this movie tight was definitely a priority.
Yeah, big learning experience. Well, kudos to you, man. Good job. We
Yeah,
appreciate you, and we'll be seeing you soon.
yeah. Looking forward to Austin. Take care.